Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown and our live post-game show after Game 1 of the finals. And man, was that a great game, wasn't it? We had a lot of intrigue, and there's a lot of things you're going to have to watch for while these games are going on if you really want to be up on what's happening. And I think a lot of it has to do with the matchups. Who is guarding LeBron and who is guarding Steph? Now, of course, we have a real severe problem here with the Cavaliers if Kyrie Irving ends up having real bad foot problems. And clearly he must be hurt already because the injury he had in the Chicago series and then tonight did not look very severe at all, and yet he must have aggravated whatever he had. Oh, sorry. Gosh darn it. The finals. And man, was that a great game. Pause that. All right, here we go. So that's an issue that they're going to have to be very wary of, and perhaps they can get him ready and they can get him better for Game 2, and then he can hopefully not aggravate that. Now, earlier today, I had sent out a tweet saying that Kyrie deserved to guard Curry and not get so much disrespect, and people thought I was crazy for that. And so we saw today he did fine. I mean, Steph Curry certainly didn't have a crazy game, and obviously he had a crazy good block at the end there to avoid losing the game. He had a block earlier. He did fine. And remember, this is as good as you're going to do against a guy like Steph Curry. Meanwhile, when you have LeBron James out there, I think he clearly broke the record for most post-ups he's ever done tonight. It was crazy. And we saw kind of the worst of what you normally see from Cleveland's offense, which was, post LeBron and stand around. They did have some cutting and movement, especially in the first half, and they looked very well prepared. But, down the stretch, it kind of got stagnant for them. But that said, LeBron still had a monster game, clearly was the best player on the floor all night. And the bottom line here is they're not doubling him almost at all. They're shadowing him early with an extra defender, and that worked out pretty well when they had the right matchups, when Mozgov was in there and they could have either Bogut or Draymond Green be shadowing, or both of them. That works okay, but I think that you need to mix it up much better with the defense. You have to double team LeBron sometimes. You have to then lay off other times and keep him guessing. Obviously, that makes it tough on the defense because maybe you don't want your defenders guessing when you're going to go, but perhaps they're all smart, intelligent players and a very smart coaching staff. You can have a signal where you know when you're going to double. In fact, you can keep it even more simple where you're going to double LeBron after a score, and if you miss, you're not, or vice versa. You can have it like that where maybe it's tougher for LeBron to decipher, but you're going to have to do something, I believe, to interrupt some of that flow because he's posting up and destroying them on either face-ups, which I still think that when he faces up and shoots that 18-footer, it's bailing out the defense, but he was making most of those. But he goes to the basket. They're not going to call when he's lowering his shoulder, so he needs to take advantage of that even more. And there was moments there where he kind of just went to staying out of the lane and bailing the defense out. So really intriguing stuff. I have some other notes here. Let's see. The Warriors have the beautiful situation where they can throw so many multiple defenders at him and hopefully wear him down. I think that's what Kerr is trying to do. Didn't look like he got too tired there at the end. He had a crucial turnover, though, which was more about sort of spacing on the weak side. When Dellavedova cuts through, it allowed Curry to sneak around the weak side, a little bit like when Michael stole the ball from Karl Malone. Totally not the same situation because that was obviously Game 6 of the finals, but and for the game. But certainly didn't help them at all. And LeBron made the mistake of not facing up. He turned his back toward most of the court on that one, waited, just kind of holding the ball. Boom, Steph Curry, beautiful opportunity to come in double. So awesome stuff there. Now, J.R. Smith, by the way, he didn't shoot very well at all, and we'll show you that later. But he did make some plays on defense. So he kind of balanced out any kind of plays he didn't make offensively with some decent defense. I was very impressed with what he did there. And so that is a nice, way for him to mitigate any kind of bad shooting, which he clearly had. He probably won't miss a couple of those shots that he had that were open the next game. So let's go through. We have some screenshots to share with you. First off, I want to go through the first quarter stats and see what those look like right off the bat. So let's grab that and go through what we had here. I believe this is what we're looking at here. So the first quarter for Cleveland, as we see here, Obviously LeBron was playing terrific. He played all 12 minutes, shot 4 for 9. Got 3 free throws, only 1 assist, so he was getting his, but had a real profound effect on the game. Meanwhile, and no one else really contributed too much. Kyrie had a 3 and a bucket and an assist, but other than that, I mean, it's interesting that you can see here that Mozgov had 2 assists. It's kind of interesting, kind of an anomaly there. So then we're going to move up to the Golden State Warriors, and you can see here, nobody really did too much. It was kind of balanced without anyone going on a breakout here, and they shot poorly. They were kind of lucky to be only down here. They were down by 10. It's almost like they were lucky. It's a lot to be down though after 1. Really quickly though, if you look at the turnovers, only 2 turnovers, but it was weird because the Golden State Warriors did have some live ball turnovers. It made it seem like they had more than they actually did, and that really killed them. Meanwhile, if you look at where the Cavaliers are, they really protected the ball. They had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. And as we go farther, you're going to see that they really didn't turn the ball over much at all later on. Now let's look at the second quarter of the story here, which was, 6 turnovers for 6 points and only 7 fast break points for the first half. They did improve their shooting, though, as they got up to 44%. And here we go. Steph Curry went off a little bit. And these are nice numbers for a first half, 18 minutes, 6 for 10. They're not getting much from anybody else. Klay Thompson struggling still, 1 for 6. And you got to watch that because he's coming off of a concussion. You could tell that he was hell-bent on making the game and playing for the game. So we don't know what he did ultimately to, learn about what it takes to pass a concussion test. And even still, if he passes the concussion test, he still might have residual effects that might not, have him on his game. No one else really performing much for them at all, except for Spates, by the way. He comes in, 6 points in 4 minutes, did a really terrific job here, and looked like he hadn't missed any time. So that's really going to be valuable for them. Here we go. Okay, I see. And then we go to the thing. So here we go. The Warriors had a nice second quarter, outscored them by 7 and cut it to 3. And we have a nice little, battle of the MVP style stuff here with Steph Curry 14, LeBron James 19. Really great stuff. Let's move to the third quarter where the Warriors got some more scoring. Klay Thompson looked alive a little bit, got up to 14 points, still not shooting well at all, but was aggressive and got free throws there and is getting some rebounds. Meanwhile, Draymond Green, again, sort of steady. I don't think Steph Curry doesn't do too much more in that third quarter. Spates doesn't score at all. In fact, I don't think he's played in the third quarter, which is interesting. So, again, 73 points to the Cavaliers, 73 points. They ended up making a tie game out of this. But LeBron James is just going crazy. They're not doubling him. He's not really getting many assists because they're not doubling, but he's getting his own shots. Not quite as efficient as I'd like to see him at 12 for 25, but pretty good in a finals game. And but you can see here, look, they haven't played anybody else besides 8. So there really isn't, and there's not much to play in this group. So these guys are going to have to play a lot of minutes, and it might wear them down. Let's see what we have on our next slide is. So at the end of the third, they were able to tie it. And again, Steph Curry was a quiet 18 points through 3. LeBron James was imposing his will. But again, it's a one-man show out here. Hard to win on that. All righty. So that's the end of the third quarter. I believe I got my fourth quarter and overtime. I hope somewhere else grabbed. So let's go to some questions first because I always like to get some of those. Remember, ask your questions at the hashtag BBallShow, and I'll come up there and I'll grab them from Twitter. We might try and go to our comments on YouTube. It's been a little bit dicey. I've been noticing recently that there's been a little bit less on topic than normal. So if you want me to do that, you better, keep it clean, keep it on topic. So let's go to my BBallShow Twitter page and see what we have here, which is this it? Where we go here? Where is my, here we go. Okay. So, I believe this is the first question right here. We can see this is Bradford Basketball wants to know why do I drink so much soda? I don't think I even drink that much. I was on Twitter the other day saying I'm trying to quit drinking it, and I'm like been falling asleep in a day. I have to say I finally felt better. So thanks for the concern. But I only drank 16 ounces a day, 1 Coke, but whatever. When will Bogey get called for 10 seconds in the paint? Bogut gets away with everything down there. Little holds, little grabs. He felt falling on guys, elbows, defensive 3 seconds. So, it's a game between Bogut and the refs. And whatever he can get away with, he's going to get it. And he didn't. I don't think he got called for it tonight. I'm not so sure I saw too many of them, but certainly he gets away with it better than most. David wants to know, how many more times are we going to hear wild shot by Barbosa? You're right. He does make enough of them sometimes where they feel like they probably don't want to stifle him. So, it's kind of like you're going to have to take the good with the bad on his and hope that he makes enough where it mitigates the bad shots. But you're right. He definitely takes enough of those wild shots. It gets kind of crazy. Let's see here. Renaud wants to know, don't you think all those LBJ ISOs can do more wrong than good for the Cavs considering the lack of rhythm when he's on the bench? Interesting. We'll have to look at that because he ended up playing, 46 minutes. He's not really on the bench. So I don't know if the other players are losing any kind of rhythm for that. However, if they're standing around, that's the rhythm that you're talking about when he's in and he's posting up so much. You can't really argue getting to overtime on the road in game one, with a chance to win it is where you want to be every time. Now, we can talk about that final shot when we get to the video pretty soon. Let's see here. Oh, there I am. Let's get some more questions out here. Cavs use so much isolation. Don't you believe that over a 7-game series? You know what? I would think that, yes, Archon, that it would probably – the percentages will play on Golden State's favor, as they will anyway because they just simply are a better and deeper team. But that's all that they're going to ride with this because LeBron is such an overwhelming force. As long as the isolations are in the post, I have less problem with it. If he's going to isolate out top, that to me feels more like a bailout to the defense. So, which is very strange because down the stretch, they didn't go to him in the post on a couple of key possessions. Doesn't make sense to me why they didn't do it there if they're going to do it all the time, the other times. LeBron, ISO after ISO. So there you go. There's your answer, Eugene, about the ISO after ISO. It's really what they have to do, especially if Kyrie went down with a bad foot and is ailing. They really don't have much else to do unless you want to see J.R. Smith ISO. Again, this is a great question here about why they didn't go to LeBron in the post, and it's really a head scratcher. I don't know if it was that many, but it was enough to me where a couple times in there that were key that they didn't go to. Very strange. Is the Cavs offense, even with the Kyrie, good enough to beat the Dubs and how they – well, you could argue that, yeah, Kyrie did enough. You want to give LeBron a game to a final shot to win the game. And by the way, Shump just about hit the other shot that probably would have given everybody a heart attack. That's enough. That's what you want in a game one on the road, especially when you're a team that's not as good. Now, did they ruin their one good shot? Probably. So I don't anticipate game two being close now. That was the one where the Warriors came out a little bit nervous, didn't know what to expect, and they got their sea legs about them and ended up taking that game in overtime. So I would be surprised. It reminds me a little bit of the Bulls. Remember the Bulls went against the Lakers in '91, and they lost the game in overtime in game one. I believe it was game one. And they were a little bit nervous, a little bit off, but then they went on to basically win 4 of the next 5. And I think that probably will happen again, something like that. ISO ball will work, again, Big Delicious, as long as it's in the post and they get those same kind of movement that they did earlier with Mozgov getting dunks and flashing Tristan Thompson. That's good stuff, even if it's an ISO, but as long as it's LeBron in the post. Philip asks, what do I think of the Golden State lineup in overtime? They went really small, right? I got to look at that. I'm not even sure who they had in there. But let me see real quick if I can grab that on Popcorn Machine while we're talking. I don't know if it's up yet. Oh, it is. Look at that. So the final let's see here, lineup. Let's see that they had. Well, the very last possession was Ezeli, Green, Livingston, Curry, and Barnes, and then before that it was Iguodala, Ezeli, Green, Curry, and Barnes. So they clearly want to go to Ezeli for defensive purposes down low, which is great because he can move. I like how he plays down there. But then you're going to go Curry, Barnes, Green. Oh, that's interesting. So you basically have, I guess, Harrison Barnes is sort of the 3, or I guess Iguodala is the 2, and Barnes is the 3. It's a good lineup, and it works well. It forces the Cleveland Cavaliers into adjusting to them. Should Birdman wants to know if he should change his name to Harrison Barnes Mama. I think that Harrison Barnes should change his name to Harrison Barnes Mama. I love it when I see him do well. And it's a long road, by the way, out there. I'm going to talk to you guys for a second. In case you don't know, you're new to the conversation. ever since the first year, Harrison Barnes' first year in the playoffs against Denver and then against the Spurs, I've been a big supporter of his game, and I'd even gotten on record as saying that he, at some point then, I had said he would be the best player in the team. I think what I really meant was he would be like the most versatile, most important X factor player because he could guard 1 through 4, and he was, he could shoot 40% from 3, and he could post up when they force those mismatches. And that's a real big X factor that most other teams will have zero answer for. And again, tonight, you can see that he actually, the same kind of thing, where there's not a lot of answer when he's doing what he's doing. It makes it very difficult for a coach. And, you could give, you could play Curry as hard as you can, and, hopefully he misses, and Clay you can guard and match up okay, but it's the Barnes matchup that kills you every time. So let's go to some video, shall we? I got a couple of some things prepped for you. Let me see if I can find the first one I want. Okay, why don't I see it? It's not there. Hang on for 1 second. I know it's here. Let me find. Oh, I see. I was hiding them, so that's probably why they were not there. So let me screen share now. Live TV, gentlemen. Which one is which? That's the next question. These are not labeled for some reason. Here we go. This one. Okay, so here we have some early plays I wanted to point out. Turn the volume off. We start off with Curry's first jumper. This will be a little bit stuttered, but bear with me. I think we're going to figure out for next one how to make these things smooth. Uh-oh. Well, that got screwy. Okay, we're going to go to Curry got a nice back door. So let's see what happens here. This is what you have a real luxury here when you can have Draymond Green. You're basically your power forward bringing up the ball as point guard. Then it lets Steph Curry be devastating as an off-ball player, which I really think he's good at least half the time anyway. And so here's Steph Curry up here in the if you can see this in the on the weak side in the corner, and they're going to run a simple. Here a simple entry into the post. We know that Bogut's not going to shoot it, right? So they don't have to double, have to worry about it. They have to focus on their men. Here's a nice little play where they're going to set basically a down screen for him, and also Barnes is going over the screen. So everyone's screaming, yelling, watch Curry over the top, watch Curry over the top. Once Kyrie is on him that closely, he has to be a step off to give him room to either get around there or take away the back door. But no back door. Bogut's terrific at that pass, and boom, easy layup on the flyby. Great play. Now let's move to a little bit later where we have Barnes gets a corner three where let's see, I'm a little bit early here. Okay, here we go. So really simple stuff here. They send Barnes through a nice curl to the corner. Pretty, that gets LeBron out of there. Then they're going to run an inside screen roll on the top. Okay. Kyrie's hustling around, and Tristan Thompson is helping out. They're actually in not bad position here. LeBron, though, is giving a lot of attention here to Steph Curry and giving Harrison Barnes. At this point, though, LeBron is too high. He needs to sink back and be even with Harrison Barnes. At this point, he turns his back completely on him and sinks down, doesn't even try to close out, and Barnes gets an open three. This is the other thing is not only do you have Draymond bringing the ball up as a point guard, but now you can hit him as a roll man, and he can create plays off of that, driving it hard and kicking or finishing or lobbing to Bogut. It's a real problem to try and stop that. Now we go to okay. So here's what I'm talking about with Kyrie guarding Steph Curry, where people needed to give him a little bit more credit. Where you'll see on the drive. Let me get around to that. Okay, they kick it out to Curry in the corner, and watch how Kyrie's fighting, he's battling, and he comes up and he swipes that ball away. He's got long arms. By the way, he correctly does this left-handed. Beautiful way to block that without getting a foul. Curry is stymied. He's like shocked that happened, right? And they get a nice, beautiful block. This is good stuff, and every one of these plays that Kyrie makes just allows him to, be freer on offense, and he can hit a couple shots, and then that really balances out the matchups there. So now let's see here. This is interesting here because what they're doing is they're trying to shadow LeBron on the post-ups, right? It's not even really a double, right? They leave him alone. Now, LeBron, I feel, bails him out. But all of that attention by Bogut toward LeBron, he loses where Mozgov is. And look, Mozgov gets a clear shot at tipping it out. And guess what? Boom, right to Kyrie. Now, that's tough. Why was Kyrie so wide open? Clay had to switch out on him on that screen and roll. So Clay's watching the ball. He goes for the rebound. You know, you can't blame him for that. And then, boom, wide open. That's the best three to take is off of an offensive tip out. Especially because, remember, the ball's coming from that area. Kyrie is already square to the basket on the catch. Easy shot. Now we move to our next. Let's go to our next one, shall we? Let me close that one out. But great stuff. And keep asking questions using the B-Ball hashtag B-Ball Show. Let me tweet this out again real quick just because I want to make sure everyone's in here. And let's see here. Let's go to our next set of clips here, which would be, let me close this out here. 6:29, here we go. Okay, so at the end of the first, let me make this a little bit smaller so I could see my desktop. At the end of the first, we have a couple other good plays here. And by the way, it might seem like it's all Golden State. You know, I just kind of, I'm grabbing clips live. It's not easy to balance it out as much as I can, but I want to make sure that you say that Cleveland did play well. They did have some nice moves. So here's the J.R. Smith corner three. Let's figure out how he got open here. So keep your eye out on J.R. catches the ball. Oh, no, that's Kyrie. Sorry. Oh, I see. So keep your eye out on J.R. Where is J.R. Smith? Okay, up on top here. So remember, when you get penetration, oh, that's interesting. Where did it go? All righty. So I guess we got a little screwy. Somehow I missed it instead of, all right, I was in a hurry. Forgive me. Let's go on to the next clip. Let's see what we have here. You know what? I think I was in a hurry. I grabbed all the wrong ones. Everything in between is what I want. Let's see here. Yes, that's what happened. Well, let's see how Mo Space got his shots. Live TV, gentlemen. I need an assistant is what I really need. So here's an interesting thing with Mo Spates in the ball game and how we got one of his shots is that we do a screen and roll, and you can see here that Tristan Thompson has to come up to watch this because you don't want to give him an easy three on this. And a real simple. Now, at this point, I can see why, you know, JR doesn't want to necessarily leave Harrison Barnes wide open at the corner, but you need to stunt over there and at least get a hand up and yell and distract him a little bit. You give him an open shot like that, Spates is going to hit that every time. It looks like here it's going to jump to, yeah, everything. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm getting everything I don't want. This is all the in-between stuff. Anyhow, let's see if I get right in the ship here. No, and then let's see. I think, do I have the last? Okay, I think I have here the last. Okay, I don't. Gosh darn it all. All righty. I wanted to show you that last beautiful play. Okay, well, serves me right for hurrying to get these. And I think I do have a couple more clips, though, that I can show you. It looks like these are right. So let's share this. Okay. So here we go. Let's see. The beginning of the third quarter, we're going to have a the Kyrie to Mozgov dunk. So let's see what we have here. Okay, this is beautiful triangle offense action. This is Coach Dave Blatt, at his finest here, at his most influential. So here it's a real simple, you see, this looks almost freeform in some way, but I think it's set up where you see that Tristan Thompson wants to set a screen, but what he's seeing here is that Bogut is sloughing off of Mozgov, and they want a backdoor. It's called blind pig out of the triangle. And it's basically normally what you'd see is Kyrie cutting backdoor off of this. Klay Thompson gets a body on him, so instead they do a little bit of a handoff here. That forces Bogut to rotate over a little bit. And look at this beautiful pass. Only person who can get it would be Mozgov. Bogut tries and does a nice job to get there, but instead, boom, right there for the dunk. Beautiful play. Let's move on to the end of the. All right, let's see. Is this the? Yeah. Okay. So then out of a timeout, the Warriors at a beautiful play here. Watch what they do here. So they send Curry across. Oh, I see. They cross these guys underneath together. And then what Curry is going to do is everyone's concerned about him. He's simply going to back screen Tristan Thompson. There's not much he can do because Dellavedova should be coming off the help if he didn't call. Doesn't want to leave Curry, but that leaves Tristan Thompson taking the long route all the way around. No one's there to help. Beautiful dunk. Let's watch that in real time.
Trying to create the...
Boom. Beautiful. That's basketball, folks. So let's go back and ask. Go back to our questions. Remember, if you want to ask one, I'll answer it live here, and we'll see what we have here. So let's get back to that page, which is okay. Is LeBron can't do it all sentiment more the Cavs' fault or LeBron's fault? David, it's a good question. I don't know if it's anybody's fault. I think it's what they have to do. LeBron is going to have to be everything and everything, especially because Kyrie looks like he's not going to be able to go 100%. So he and by the way, he can do it all. Like he just about won it for them. So you can't count him out. Does David Blatt know how to run an offense? I feel like it was literally ISOs if it's midway in the third. Well, I did show you one great example of some good plays with LeBron in there. And I think he does. I think that they try and get as much as they can. But you're right. They lost track there a little bit where they should have gotten some more post-ups for LeBron. But this is what they do. It's what they're going to have to do. Without Kevin Love, with Kyrie or Ayling, they're going to have to utilize LeBron as much as possible. Did this game reinforce your predictions for the series ending for Warriors in 6? I mean, certainly, for sure. It's weird, though, because with a 2-2-1-1-1, that means the Warriors would have to win in Cleveland. But I think that at this point, the way this went, I would be surprised if they don't go to Cleveland up 2-0. And, they grab one of those games and it's over in 5, obviously. So I think that's on pace for something like that. Eugene Park asks, no way LeBron can keep this up, this type of usage up in the post for the whole series. I think he's going to have to. So we're going to find out if he can, but that's not much choice. They're going to have to post him up 20, 25 times a game, which is probably what they did. I'm going to count it in the game breakdown, and we'll see. Warriors double from blindside corner, force LeBron to swing. Would it work? Yeah, absolutely. You have to double from the weak side, and because whatever pass he makes needs to be a 2 or 3 passes away, so you have time to close out and get back into play. You cannot double from one pass away. All right, here's this little thing. I got to scroll down. I hate when Twitter makes me do this, but let's see here. So Forever Purple and Gold, great suggestion there. The Kid Asthmatics asks, do you think the Cavs' super LeBron-dependent offense will kill them? It's their only hope, so it's not. I don't see it as a way of killing them ever. It's simply going to be what they have to do, and it very well might. Master Maxwell says Steph Curry nerves equal missed layups. Maybe he did slow down and wasn't quite as fast as he needed to be on those, but man, was that great Kyrie effort on those 2 blocks. Zane asks, do you think the Warriors are lucky that they didn't have to play the Clippers or the Spurs in the playoffs this year? I mean, they're lucky on so many levels. I actually grabbed a screenshot. Let me share that with you real quick because I thought it was worthy at the end of the game. Let me open it up here. Let's see. That's not it. Where is it? Is it this one? Yeah. Let me just share this with you because it's crazy. Where is that one? Here it is. Okay, check this out. The Warriors, injured point guards they've had to go against, right? First round, Drew Holiday missed game 2. Second round, Mike Conley was missed game 1, but it was clearly a shell of himself for most of that series. The finals, Western Finals, Patrick Beverley not there, and now Kyrie Irving. This is crazy how they're kind of lucked out. They didn't have to guard. They didn't have to play the Clippers. They didn't play the Spurs, and then whoever they did play didn't really have their point guards going for them. That's massively, it happens. It's lucky, and that's what it's going to be. So, it's not like the Warriors are going to, roll over on it or say sorry to anybody. They're just going to do it. They're going to, take advantage. Let's see. The Kid Asthmatic says, because he will probably get exhausted soon enough with his usage. He will get exhausted. That's absolutely for sure. Joseph says, do you think the Warriors will win the championship? I do. I think, winning game 1 at home in overtime is going to take the wind out of the sails of the Cavs. How different will the Cavs rotation be if Kyrie misses game 2? Well, Dellavedova starts, and then you're going to see, they're going to have to play another guy. They really didn't play much of anybody in that game. If you see the Cleveland box score, right, they played 8 guys. The only question is who gets that time. They're probably going to have to, get some time from, I would imagine, Mike Miller or Sean Marion if Kyrie can't go. But I would imagine he's going to give it a shot at least. He's a tough kid. Kyrie is. Let's see here. Who's the better defender on LeBron, Iggy or Barnes? Great question. Well, remember, Clay guarded him too. Didn't do that well. I liked what Barnes did. I thought he was doing really well. It looked like Iggy got the bulk of the possessions. I'm going to chart that. So in our breakdown, we're basically going to focus on who guarded LeBron, who guarded Steph, and a couple of things down the stretch. So, I think Iggy did a great job, and it's a tough thing. But I would love to see Barnes get a couple more opportunities down the stretch too. Let's see. So good question, Johnson. Utaka asks, Coach, do you think the full court pressure contributed to the dry out of the Warriors in the first semester? I think maybe you mean the first half, and were they doing it that much? I don't think so. And they're so deep, they're not going to play. I know Harrison Barnes got 39 minutes and Steph Curry played 43 in an overtime game. I think that they're okay. I don't think they tired him out too much. Sirocco asks, how much would Kevin Love have affected the outcome of this game? Well, without question, Kevin Love is another major talent who can score. He doesn't help them on defense too much, and they changed their whole persona with Tristan Thompson playing a lot more minutes. So it's hard to know, but without question, Cleveland will be better. When you have more talent, you are a better team. Patrick's asks, don't you think the Cavaliers could integrate more weak side action on LeBron's post-ups? Absolutely. They have it. I'm sure Coach Blatt will be able to put that in, and they did a nice job with it. We saw him dicing him up a little bit there and getting good shots. So it's a question of showing LeBron the footage, showing the other guys the footage of that, and just encouraging him to keep doing it more and more. Why did Steve Kerr go small in overtime? I mean, I think he wanted to force the issue there, and I suppose he wanted to try and do his best to keep them off the boards, and because they were hurting them. If you look at the finals here, the Cavaliers had 45 total rebounds. They were actually out-rebounded. The Warriors had 48. The Cavaliers had 13 offensive rebounds, which is a lot. So going small kind of forces them to not have all of their players in there at the end. I'm kind of curious. Who did they have? The Cavs had let's see here. Oh, it's interesting. Am I looking at the wrong game? Because I don't see overtime. Oh. You know what? I'm looking at the wrong. Oh, I see. There it is. The Cavs had, at the end there, Tristan Thompson, but then they had to go small. So, Jones, Smith, Dellavedova, and James, there's no worry of getting offensive rebounds with that team. And that was what they kind of forced that way. The Cleveland did start out with Mozgov and Thompson in there, and it didn't work. They got outscored by 4 points in that stretch, and that cost them the game. Coach, Chris Beck, the screens today, moving or not moving? Again, they get away with what they get away with, and that's the problem. Is the referees aren't going to call it as much because it makes it a problem for it stops the game and all that kind of stuff. And plus, Bogut is great. He turns his back and kind of backs into the guy, and they just never call it. If it was a real concern for me, and I was glad, I would call him out in the media, and I bet you'd see a few in the beginning called. Why is Clay and by the way, ask like a true coach. Generally, only coaches are going to notice the bad screens or the illegal screens because it's not fair. He's right. Solo Dolo asks, why is Clay not defending LeBron on some ISO? They don't have shuffle defenders too much. Clay got his stint, and Clay got eaten alive on that one stretch. So, they're going to just keep throwing him out there to tire him out as best they can. It might have worked. I think LeBron was a little bit tired down there at the stretch, down at the end of the fourth and in overtime. Should Kyrie defend Curry the rest of the series if he's healthy? Yeah, because remember, if Kyrie doesn't, and then Young asks a good question, if he doesn't guard him, it puts him in a world of peril across the board with everyone else that has to match up because basically you're going to have to put Kyrie on Harrison Barnes, and that's a post-up, and Barnes is really good, especially when he's, 6, 7, 8 inches taller than his defender. He'll score on that a whole lot. So, they're probably just better off letting him chase him around, and I thought he did fine tonight. I thought they did well enough to where they could have won the game. Let's see. Milan asks, do you think Iguodala should continue guarding LeBron, or should the Warriors put Barnes on him? Well, no, Barnes did play him too. They threw everybody at him. So a steady diet and keep rotating and keep LeBron guessing. And that's why they need to start doubling him a little bit, just to kind of get his rhythm off. Let's see. Cole wants to know, what do you think about the Cavs shot selection in overtime? Bad, or were they just not falling? It's a good question. I think I was more concerned about what they were running than the actual shots. I believe, did JR get one in there? Let me see here. JR Smith, I think, got like an ISO. That wasn't a great shot. Let me see here. Where is he? Oh, actually, JR was over 3 and over 2 for 3. So I know that at least 2 of those were not good shots. So, yeah, that's an issue that they're going to have to work on, but they were probably exhausted. The last thing they wanted to do is play overtime after only playing 8 players. Moses wants to know, let's see, the Cavs look out of shape like the Heat did last year. Well, that's interesting. Are they out of shape, or are they simply, with this really short rotation, you're going to get tired no matter what? I think it's probably more what that is. Okay, there we go. RJ wants to know, will the Cavs only play offense through LeBron, and is Irving's injury crucial? Yes and yes. Yes times 3. Iguodala is their best defender. Although I like what Barnes did. And you know what the thing is? The team is the best defender because they can rotate Barnes, Iguodala, Clay, and even Draymond Green, who didn't get that many and kind of got scored on a couple times, but actually was able to do decently. It's just not fair. This is one of those rare instances where a team has 4 legitimate LeBron defenders. I don't think he's ever gone up against that before. Although LeBron can't shoot threes well, but now he's good at backing you down from the 3-point line. Will you guard? How will you guard as well? What they're doing is that they're single coverage with a little bit of shadow every now and then before he catches the ball or when he's up on the perimeter. Again, they have to double him. I think they need to double him sometimes to keep him honest. So let's see. Eric asks, what adjustments do the Warriors need to make on the LeBron post problem? So I think we went over that. Certainly. What I've been saying about doubling and then just keep rotating. They're doing well. They won the game. I just have a feeling it's one of those things where they're gonna just take control of game 2. I think that the Cavaliers are going to realize that was their one good shot at stealing a game on the road. Kyrie tore his blastoid muscle out. Oh, is that the news right now that I missed? He tore a muscle? Youch. What is the blastoid muscle? That's it. They're done. They're done in 5 without Kyrie. How do you think Cleveland matches up against Golden State's small ball? They'll have to go small as well, and that's tough for them because they're going to want to keep Thompson in there as much as possible with Mozgov. I think that's a nice look for them a lot of the time, but if they're not going to be able to impose their will as much, it's going to have to be an adjustment. That means that you're going to have to see Sean Marion or somebody in there, or Mike Miller. Let's see, Dave. Any adjustments the Warriors make? I don't think so. I think the Warriors can keep playing their game. They did very well out of timeouts, by the way. That might be one of the focuses of the breakdown because those are the plays that steal you an extra 4, 5, 6 points. And when you get those, and in an overtime game, that's the game right there. So I don't know if they need to do too many more adjustments. I think that Clay might look at a couple of the shots he took and adjust and take pass those up a little bit. Steve, do you know why David Lee isn't playing anymore? It's funny because there were times when he'd go in there and the defense would get lit up, and it wouldn't even be Green's fault. David Lee's fault. But they just get lit up, and it's just not a fit. He's just not a guy. They're going to have to move him because it's a waste. He could help other teams quite significantly. But what I've noticed is that when the defense suffers, perhaps psychologically they just want to help him so much that they don't guard their men. Chris Dice, LeBron had Steph Curry on him at the end of regulation. Why does he pass? He destroyed Iggy Barnes for him to post all game. It's a good question. We're going to look at that. He clearly saw something he likes somewhere else, and LeBron has consistently made the good play over hero ball his entire career. And I want to allow him as much as I can for that because there were plenty of times throughout his whole career where he could have taken shots, but he made the right play, got the open shot for somebody, whether they hit it or not, it didn't matter. And he'll continue to do that. Let's see here. Coach Edison wants to know, why did the Cavs the last few plays let players shoot threes with defenders in front and plenty of time? Yeah, they got tired, I think. When you get tired, you make bad decisions. And I don't know why they didn't go to LeBron in the post. It's a real big head scratcher. Are you going to the future finals? No, I'm going to be here. I do my work much better when I'm at my computer. So let's see here. Tim wants to know what happened in overtime for the Cavs to go 1 for 13 from the field goal. I think they ran out of gas. You're on the road. You're probably not going to win that game anyway. Most road teams in overtime, especially in the finals, are going to lose. So it's a tough one. They just ran out of gas. Short rotation, and it's just harder to do that. You're tired. It's harder to cut. It's harder to move. Harder to screen. Let's see. Last few questions, and we'll wrap this up. This has been a great live post-game show. Is there any chance for the Cavs without Kyrie? Mr. Alexi, absolutely not. It is over. It could be a sweep, actually, if that's the case. What will happen if LeBron also got injured? Well, it'll be a really awful finals. It'll be over before it starts. Raz, do you think the reason the Warriors were better in overtime is because their players got more rest? Absolutely. The deeper you are and you're home, you're in a much better position, and that's exactly what happened. The logic of playing Ezeli, well, I think he's active. Bogut, to me, on defense, looked out of it for a lot of the game. He really did. I can't really put my finger on it too much, Michael, but it definitely felt like he just was sort of a step slow and a little bit late, and Ezeli was active and doing nicely. And I think that's the future, by the way. Bogut will probably, in the next couple of years, be phased out. Ezeli will become the starter, and we'll see that the Warriors will keep marching on and winning championships probably. John wants to know, Coach, don't you think LeBron needs to use the power dribble more in the post into his over the right shoulder fade? Yeah, I don't like the fade as much. His over the right shoulder into the lane is much better, I think. If he's on the right block, and then the left block, he should be over the left shoulder, turning into the middle and attacking. That's where he's going to be able to at least get to the front of the rim or do a nice kick out for a wide open shot. Anytime he does that over the fadeaway, it feels like he's bailing him out, even though he's decent at it. Let's see here. Soraka wants to know from top to bottom, which team is better coached and has a deeper bench? I think it's the Warriors on both ends, even though the Cavaliers have a very good coach. Vlad has prepared them well. They looked very good in that first half. They were slicing up the defense. That's a well-coached team they have there. But without question, the Warriors are deeper and more talent, and that's what's going to win out in this series. Will the Cavaliers suffer since Kyrie might be out? It's over. Shaq's kick Safai. It is over. The Cavaliers are done. I'm sorry, Cleveland fans, but without Kyrie, forget about it. Let's see here. Last few ones, I'll wrap it up here. What should the Cavs do to help them in the series? Well, it's a good question. Without Kyrie, then they're going to have JR go nuts, every game, and that's not something you can count on either, especially with the defenders they have. I mean, did you see Iggy guard JR and just like block his shot? I mean, it was just like he just erased him on that ISO. And then the Cavs, the only adjustments the Cavs are going to be able to make without Kyrie, is Mike Miller or Sean Marion. That's just not going to work for them. Blastoid muscle is fake. It's a Pokemon thing. Oh, you guys got me. Gosh darn it. I should know that. My son's really into Pokemon. He's going to love that. So I guess we don't have any news about Kyrie. Great. Well, thank you. That's what I get for relying on Twitter for my news. Am I a fan of straight up double teaming LeBron and making someone like James Jones hurt you? I'm a fan of double teaming, on occasion. Keep LeBron guessing. Double team sometimes, playing like they were other times. That's basketball. That's coaching. Let's see. John C. Why isn't Sean Marion playing? I think because he can't move very well. He's certainly not the defender he used to be. So, no, I don't think he can help him that much. Well, sports fans, that is a beautiful post-game show after a beautiful game. I can't wait to jump into the footage and start breaking it down ASAP. I'll probably have something up for you tomorrow morning. So stay tuned for that. And, again, don't forget, at BBallBreakdown, we're not a channel. We're a conversation. You in?